Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Angel from Simply Angel Tia, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you guys how to make this. And by this I mean whatever you see here, and by whatever you see here, it's a dress. Okay, it's a granny square dress that I have been told or asked by some of you to make, so I decided to do it in a like this kind of design like this, which is pretty much like the black and white, because I think this is the best colors to do these kind of dresses in. They pop, they're very they kind of complement each other this way. So this is what we're going to be working on for the strap. So this is going to be the top of your dress here, and as you see in the pictures how I wear it, you're going to have this as the top of your dress, and you're going to use straps like this to be able to hold it up, or to just have something that is a little bit more secure. And if you don't want to do this, which is why I have them as a side pieces, is you can either wear sometimes with the straps and sometimes you can wear without, because both ways it looks just fine. Now I'm gonna show you guys a surprise at the end of the video, so which means watch it to the end of the video. But I'm gonna show you guys another surprise of how you can also use this. Okay, so do not stop the video before you get to the end. Make sure you watch it all the way through. Make your dress the way I'm gonna show you guys at the beginning to the end, and at the end you will see the surprise that I'm talking about. Okay, so without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, my lovelies, so before we get the project started, I'm going to show you all the materials that I'm using for it. And as you can see here, these are the two colors that we're using to do our granny square dress. So these two colors are what I chose. You can obviously choose any combination of colors that you want. But this yarn here, this is called tourmaline. I think that's how you say the name. This is 100% acrylic, and the color here is 1103, but obviously I call it white. And it's a lightweight number 2, super lightweight, I guess I should say, super lightweight number 2. And recommended hook size for crochet is 2 to 2.5 millimeter crochet. It's really small, but I'm going to be using a little bit of a different crochet hook size. And this is a 50 gram for the skein. Of course, this is exactly the same except for the color. The color is 585. Okay, so these are the two different colors. And for this project, I'm going to do something a little bit different. So I'm going to just show you how to do the granny squares using the same granny square, because we do 3 different sizes. And to do that, there's no need to do 3 different sizes per se. I will show you what I'm talking about. Okay, all right. For crochet hook size, I'm using a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook. I have my darning needle, a tape measure, and scissors. I have some stitch markers somewhere that it would be nice to have as well, because it's good to have stitch markers every time you crochet. Okay, so let's go ahead and clear the table and get started. Hello my lovelies, so as I'm editing this video here for you guys, I realize I changed my information quite a lot throughout the video. So as you guys know, I freestyle my work. So with this particular pattern, I haven't actually tried it before on my own without recording it. And so the difficulty of doing that is that the information changes as I go, especially sizing. And so you will hear me talking about how many squares you need to make for the big size, for the medium and the small, and as well as how I'm going to arrange it. But you will see that it changes throughout the video, so please try to follow along. It all going to come down with your size, but with this dress here, it's very easy to add or remove squares if you don't want it to be either really long or you don't want it to be too baggy. Okay, but as you can see at the end of the whole thing, I ended up using 2 squares of the large ones, and then 3 squares of the medium, and 1 square for the small. And I'm talking about if you work going up, joining your squares. And all together I had 8 rows that go around. Okay, so I had 8 squares that are going around to start the whole thing off. So just keep in mind of that as you go through the video. Thank you so much again, and continue watching. I love you guys. Okay, my lovelies, so these are the 3 sizes that we're going to be making here. So this is what I attempted to explain just a second ago, and I thought it would just be easier if I explained it at this point so that you can see it as well. So we're doing granny squares that are 3 different sizes, because we need to fit them in 3 different parts of our body that will end up being different sizes. Okay, all right, so as you can see here, I have this granny square, this granny square, and this granny square. So what I will do is I will show you how to do all these different sizes in just one square, because it's just increasing the number of rows as you go. And then we'll talk about how many you need per size, and as well as per color, because we are doing these in both white and black. Okay, so the first part first, I will show you guys how to do the granny squares. Okay, so we're gonna try to do the small one here first. So we're gonna start by doing a magic circle. Okay, so magic circle for me, I just do it like I'm going to do a slip knot, but then I make sure I have a big tail here, and I make sure I have this circle here when I slip it off my thumb, that I have it here and I'm holding it tight in this spot here. I'm gonna put my crochet hook through, and I'm gonna yarn over and bring it through, and now I'm going to switch my finger to hold it right underneath this section here like this. Okay, and then I'm going to do a chain of 2, and then I'm going to work 3 double crochets into the square, into the circle. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now I'm only doing 3 because the first chain 2 that I just started with counts as a double crochet. So I actually do have 4 double crochets in this section here. And then we're going to do a chain of 2, and then I'm going to do 4 double crochet stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and then we're going to do chain of 2, and then 4 more double crochets into the magic circle. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And all along you're making sure you're bringing your tail with you, and when you go into the circle, you're making sure you're going through both. So not like this and you're going through this one string, you're making sure you're going through both like this. Okay, and for the final, you do 2 chain 2, and then you do 4 more double crochets into the square. And the chain 2s that we're doing into the circle, I mean the chain 2 that we're doing is to create our corners, because we want to make sure that it comes out as a square and not any other shape. Okay, so after we do our final 4, we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to slip stitch on top of the chain 2 that we started this row with, just like that. Okay, and then now we've done that, I'm just going to pull it out like this, so I have it like this, and then I'm going to take my tail and I'm going to pull as tight as I can, and now I have my square like this. This is the first row of the square. Okay, and now I'm going to put my hook back in, and I'm going to do a chain of 2, and I'm going to go into that stitch there, the next stitch, and do a double crochet, and I'm going to go into the next stitch and do a double crochet, and I'm going to go into the next stitch and do a double crochet, and I should have 4 double crochets in this corner here. Then I'm going to go right into the chain 2 and do 2 double crochets. Okay, chain 2, and then I'm going to do 2 more double crochets into that chain 2 space from the previous row, like that, and we'll continuing to create the corner. Then I'm going to move on and into the next stitch right here, and don't make sure you're going into this stitch here. It's a very difficult one to see. There's a stitch right there that goes along with this stitch here, and then the next one is here, which goes with this. So don't go into this, because otherwise you're skipping a stitch here. So you go into that stitch and do a double crochet, you move on to the next and do a double crochet, and into the next stitch you do a double crochet, into the next stitch you do a double crochet. Okay, So for this section here, after we go into this the corner, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in each of these side, and then on this side 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then you're gonna go into the square, into the corner, and do 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. So 1 and 2. Okay, like that. And then you're going to move on to the next stitch. Again, just pull your work apart like this, and there's a gap, there's this hole right here. That's where the first stitch is. You're gonna put your double crochet there, and then into the next stitch you go into it with a double crochet, into the next with a double crochet again, into the last one of this part with a double crochet. And now you need to go into the corner, which is the chain 2 spot from the previous row, and you do 2 double crochets in that gap, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets into the same gap, so the chain 2 spot, which is our corner. Okay, and we're going into our final section here. You pull it apart to make sure you see that little tiny hole here, and you go into that to do your double crochet, and then you go into the next stitch and do a double crochet, and into the next stitch double crochet, and into the next stitch double crochet. And now you go into the chain 2 and do 2 double crochets, and chain 2, and then 2 double crochets again into the same chain 2 spot. Okay, so we have completed the second row. This is how our second row looks like, and we're going to slip stitch on top of this chain 2 to complete the circle, to complete the square, I should say. So that's how your second row should look like. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and start our third row. Chain 2, go into that stitch and do a double crochet, which is the next stitch. Go into the next stitch and do a double crochet, into the next stitch, into the next stitch. One more stitch to go before you hit the corner, so that stitch there, and then into your corner with 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets into the same corner here, which is our chain 2 gap from the previous row. Okay, and then you do 2 more. Okay, so we continue to create that corner here, and then again you go into the next stitch right here. Don't forget that one. Make sure you go into that first one, and you continue to do your double crochets across until you get to the corner again, and then you will do your 2 double crochets in a corner, chain 2, 2 double crochets into the same corner, and you just repeat that until you get back to the beginning of the row here. So I will have you guys work yourselves around when you get back here. Come back and I will show you how to start the next row, and we're working on these smaller pieces of the 3, and for that piece we're doing 4 rows. Okay, so we're gonna finish this third one, start the fourth one, and that's the last of this, and then we're gonna move on to the medium piece, and then we're gonna go ahead and continue to the large piece at the end. But for now, let's meet back at the end of this row here. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone as far as I can here before I come back to show you how to move on. So as you can see, the third row, I have gone ahead and created this corner here, and now we have to complete the rest of the row by going into this next stitch here and doing a double crochet, and then moving on to the next stitch right here and doing a double crochet, and then now we can slip stitch. So we're going to slip stitch on top of the chain 2 like that to complete the square. So this is how the third row looks like, and then we're going to do one more row to finish the small size. So 1, 2, so we start with a chain 2 always, and into the next stitch we're going to do a double crochet like so, and then to the next as well, and into the next, and we're just going to continue to do the same thing we have been doing. and we're gonna work until we come back to this corner here. When you hit this corner here and you have done your 2 double crochets, chain two double crochets, you go into the stitch right here, and then into this stitch, and then into this stitch, and then into this stitch, and then you slip stitch here. So when you have actually come around all the way to here, come back, and I will show you how to finish this row, how to finish these this row, and then how to continue in this sense of our, in the sake of our tutorial, how to continue to get the next size and then the next size after that. Okay, so I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Okay guys, so I have completed the 4th row for the small granny square here. So as you can see, I pretty much have come back to the side where we will connect, or to the point where we will connect, and then I'll pretty much just go here and connect it with a slip stitch like that. Okay, and as you can see, this is 4 rows, which is the size of this small one. Okay, so this is exactly the size for the small one. So instead of me cutting the yarn and showing you how to start the second part all over, I'm just gonna show you how to pretty much continue here, and you already know that. So you just after this section here, by the way, you just cut your yarn and then you slip stitch or do a chain 1 to lock in, and then you start the second one. And for the second one, after you've gone to the 4 rows and you're doing your 5th row, you chain 2, you go into that next square, into the next stitch, and do your double crochet. And then you continue these until you have 5 rows. So as you can see here, this is 5 rows, which is just 1 more row after this. Okay, as you can see, it's just 1 more row after that. And then when you finish the 5 rows, you just do the exact same thing. You cut that off and you slip stitch to close it off. And then you add 1 more rows. So there's 4 rows here, 5 rows here, and 6 rows for the big one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. And then this is, so this, the big one is 2 rows more than this one, and this one is 1 row more than this one. So this is how you will work your 3 different sizes. So I'm not going to continue to show you that, guys, here, because you just have to continue doing the exact same thing over and over until you reach the big size to make these big sizes here. Okay, so these are the 3 sizes that we have to make sure we have, and I'm going to talk about how many you need based on your size. Okay, so let me grab all the squares that I've already completed, and I will talk to you about the sizing. Okay, my lovelies, so these are all the squares that I've made here for my size, and like I said, I'm making a small. So I made 12 squares for the black one here for the big size, and 12 of the big size in white. So altogether we have 24 squares for this. And then for the medium size, we have 9 whites and 9 blacks. So we have 18 altogether here for this. And then for the smallest one, we have 6 and 6. So we have 12 total for this, okay? So this is what's gonna fit my size, or at least I hope it's gonna fit my size. If I need to do an addition of any of these again, it's just a matter of adding them up. But because the way we're going to join the dress is going to give us ability to add squares if we need to add squares to increase the size. Okay, now with that said, the way we're going to increase this is we're going to need to, I'm going to want to have 6 of the big one, or all of them. Actually, we need to have 6, but the way I will do it is I will obviously alternate like this. So we will have a square of black and square of white and black, and then white again, and then we're gonna do a black and then white again, and we're gonna just alternate that until we have the 6 squares. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So as you can see here, if the camera allows, there's 6 of them lined up here and alternating the different colors. And this is not how we're gonna join it. The way we're gonna join it is we need to have we need to join them straight like this to allow us space to be able to add a line if we needed to add a line. And the way we do that is you just pretty much start with any color and you join the 2 colors like so. And then of course in this case here, the next color will be a black one, and you join that there, and the next color will be a white one, and you join this like for the 4 squares. So you should have 2 of the black ones of the big size and 2 of the white, and you join these upwards, alternating from one color to the other. Doesn't matter which color you start with, because the next row of it will have the exact opposite starting color. Okay, so when you have these 4 done, and then you're going to get another 4 of the other colors here. So for the medium size, you're going to have 2 blacks, and then you're going to have 2 whites, and you do the same. So if you end with a black of the big square in color, then you will start the medium in white and then black, and you continue that the same way. And then for the smallest, you will do 2. So you will have 2 of these guys, or actually 4 as well, sorry. 4 of these guys that you're alternating the same way, so you will have 4 of each. So I'm gonna join one of these, and when I come back I will have an actual example to show you how that looks like, because then you do one big line like this, another line, and then we will join everything together to make a full circle, which is the dress. But for now I will join one piece, long piece, and then I'll come back and show you guys what that looks like. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I just wanted to quickly come here and show you a sample of the joining that I've done. So just from joining one of these pieces here, I have already realized that I have too many of this, because otherwise the dress will be super long, because I was going to do 4 of these, so it would mean I have 2 more down here. But it would make my dress long, which is not a problem. If that's what you want, you can definitely do that, but it does take it down past my knees, and I kind of wanted this to just hit right by my knees, which is kind of a mid-length dress. So I decided not to join the other 2 here, so we will have almost about 10 to 12 inches, 12 to 10 pieces left of this size of this granny square, which is probably going to be about 5 or 6 of the white and 5 or 6 of the black. But this is pretty much how it looks. So I have these 2 pieces here, and then I have the next 3 pieces are the same size, which is the medium size right here. And then I have the final 2 sizes is the last 2 here. So this is how the squares joined together looks like. And I know you guys are probably having questions as to how I join the big size to a medium size, because the number of stitches here is not the same here. And of course, the same calls for this section here where we go from medium to small. How do I do that? So I decided I will show you guys that, so that it's easy for you guys to do it. So what I did was I joined the 2 first pieces together here. Together it's joined. And now I'm going to show you guys how to join the medium, which is going to be, in this case, black. I will just confirm to see if I'm working myself this way or this way. But whichever way, the next size we're going to be doing is this medium size. And then I will have, I will join those 3. And then I will obviously show you guys how to join the medium to the small here, okay? So I will just be back when I have determined what color I go with on this side or this side. Okay, so I am going to be doing this side here. So I'm going to be working the white, the black, and then white next, and go on like that. So again, if you can see how I did this here, when you do your granny squares, you do have a size that looks a little bit like this in terms of the stitches. And then you have a size that looks like this, a lot more defined. So you have to make sure that when you're joining it, you're facing the side that look more defined on either colors facing the same way. Okay, so in this case here, and the best determiner of that is where you started with your stitch, you will have a tail that is hanging like this. That, for me, I consider that the side that is on the same side, obviously, because of that. And then the side that doesn't have a string coming off the middle is the side that is gonna be facing the same. Okay, so in this case here, I have it like this. And then the other thing is, when we end our project, we have the tail where we cut off the yarn to end our granny square. And also just, and this is maybe just something that I'm kind of picky about, but I try to put those on the same side as well. So as you can see here, I have this here, and I have this here, and I have that there. Okay, all right, so to go ahead and join the next square, I make sure that this side that doesn't have a string coming in the middle is going to face this way. And then what I do is I will sew it so that I'm working on this side here. So which means I put my square like this. Okay, this is gonna be on the other side because that is on that side. And I just take it and then line it up like this. I don't put it from corner to corner. I put it right in the middle because it's a different size. Like I said, there's different number of stitches on this one versus this one. I already have my stitch marker. I already have my my darning needle with the yarn, which I chose to use the black to join. You can choose any of the colors, or either black or white. But when I have this here, I go right into the middle here, okay? And I go right into the middle on the other side. I bring it through and I tie this here to make sure it's secure, because it's a very loose sewing in that kind of space. I'm gonna just kind of make it so that it's nice and neat. So I tie it in that section twice like that. And now that I have that done, I am going to go into the next stitch right here, and I'm going to grab the stitch on the other side. Then I'm going to pull, okay, there's the tail. I'm going to pull, and I'm going to go into that same stitch more than like just for the second time like this, to make sure that I'm securing that section nice and neat like that. And then I'll move on to the next stitch, and then I'll move on to the next stitch on the other side, okay. And all of these strings are kind of getting on your way, but just remove them out of your way. And as you can see, even though I have joined it from the beginning here, I will just stretch it to fit the other side as well. Okay, so I'm not actually doing anything magical at all here. I am just going through and joining stitch to stitch from one side of the two squares to the other for a couple of stitches like that. And then when it comes to kind of going towards the middle, I'm going to go into this stitch here, and I'm going to skip this and go into the next one here. It just allows me to make sure I'm matching up the stitches that I am sewing. So it doesn't matter that I skip one on the side that have more stitches, okay? And then I go and I do the same thing that I've been doing for the next couple of stitches. So I just match stitches across from this side to the other side of the square. And then when I feel like it's appropriate a little bit, I do the same thing that I did here. I go into the white, but I skip this black stitch on the other side and I go to the next one, just like that. So this is not gonna make too much of a difference, but it makes you line up your work to the other side here, because you're skipping some stitches for the side that has more stitches. You're not joining stitch to stitch every time. And then you just kind of examine, you see, okay, it's gonna line up. Like even if I just let it go like this, it's straight. And then at this point, you don't have to skip anything. You just continue to work. You're joining across very nice and neat as you want, okay. And then you do this until you get to the end where there is this big gap on both sides, this big gap and that big gap, and that's where you just put it through the two big gaps. And I will show you exactly what to do there to make sure your joining is nice and secure on here. And as you can see here, I'm skipping this here. I'm skipping that one and going to the next. And just because I came to the end and I realized I need to be able to line it up properly. So now that I have that, I go into the big gap on both sides, just like this. And I pull it through. But I do it one more time, and this time I loop my yarn around the hook like that, or around the darning needle, and then I pull, okay? So if you look at it on this side here, it looks like this. And if you flip it on the other side, it looks like this, okay? And now that you've done that, you take your scissors and you go snip somewhere here. And then you put your darning needle on the side, and this is how it looks like. So we just joined our third granny square, and it's a smaller one, and that's how it looks. And then now there's no problems of worrying about how to do it. All you have to make sure is that this side is on this side, these two sides are facing each other, inside and inside, and then you join from here to here. And then when that finishes, you will do the same with the white on top. And then you will have two of the smaller squares that you will do, and you will make sure that you do what we just did now on that as well. So as you will see, we're joining the black to the white to the black, and then we will have the white to join again, and then a black of the smaller square, where you're gonna do exactly the same thing we did here to make sure it doesn't look off because we're joining two different sizes. Okay, and then you're gonna finish it off with your final white, and you're gonna make sure you're lining it up exactly the same like this. Okay, so I will have you guys go ahead and join the remaining 4 squares here, 2 mediums and 2 smalls. And when you have all of them lined up, come back and make sure this is the size that you want. So the length of the dress here is absolutely up to you. Okay, so again, if I bring my example that I've completed into the picture here, this is the length that I want for my dress. So that means that I have 2 squares that are big ones, 2 squares that are big ones, 3 squares that are medium, and 2 squares that are small. Okay, you could do without this if you want your dress to even be shorter. So you could do away with the final square on the top, or you could do away with the final square in the bottom, so that is a super short dress, or you could do away with one of the 3 mediums. Okay, so let's say maybe you decided that you do not want to have these 3. You could just kind of remove one, and then your joining will go from 2, 2, and 2, so you will have 4 squares. But for my dress, I have 7, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this is going to be for the length that I'm looking for. And so yeah, you're gonna be able to do it at the length that you're looking for. So at the end of it, if you follow this pattern here, you should have, for me, I will have 6. You may have 4, you may have 5, you may have 7, 8, depending on your size, the circumference of your size. So mine here is going to be 6 of these pieces, because I'm basing it on how it's gonna fit me around, especially paying attention to the widest parts of my hips. Okay, the wider part of my hips. So I'm gonna end up with 6 of these, so I will join all 6 of them. When I have 6 done, I will come back, and the next joining is going to be joining it straight like this. So it's going to be lining up all of your 6 pieces and making sure they're all joined into like a big large piece, and then joining the final piece to make sure that it's become a tube dress. And then when we do that, then the only thing that will be left is creating straps if you want to have straps, or not creating straps if you don't want straps. Okay, but for now, let's join all of our pieces until you have the length that you want, or the circumference that you want, the round. And when you have all of your pieces done, come back and I'll show you how to join the length the long way. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and pretty much joined all our granny squares here. So as you can see, this is how it looks like. It looks like a big blanket. And by the way, for those of you who would like to do a blanket like this, it's literally, that's all you need to do, except you may make these squares to be exact same size so that they look exactly the same. But pretty much this is the dress here. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some changes that I've made. So this is how this is going to go. Okay, so this dress, I want it to be short, not long. Okay, so for that reason, what I decided to do was I took 2 big squares like this. For each of these lines that go up like that, I took 2 of these squares, and then I do 3 of these size here, which is a medium size. So 1, 2, 3, and then on top I just do 1 of the smaller square. So as you can see, the front have all of the small square here, and then followed by the middle part, that is the 3 big ones or medium ones, and then of course finishing it up by the 2 large ones in the bottom. Okay, and also as part of joining these squares, I was trying to wrap it around me to make sure it's gonna go around me, and so for that reason I end up doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 squares in the bottom, so which mean all of the colors as we go up are 8. Okay, so there's 8 of them on all that are going up like this. Okay, so I'm assuming now that this is gonna be the size. And by the way, if you look at this side here, it has all of these strings because we keep having to change colors to well, I use the same color, which is the black one, to join, but these are all the ones where I end up cutting it and then continuing and then cutting it and continuing. Okay, but this is all something we will weave in at the end of the project. Now if we were to fold this dress the way we're gonna actually put it on, this is how it's gonna look. Okay, so as you can see, it gets smaller as it goes on top, and as you go in the bottom, it gets wider like that. Okay, Now, because obviously our top needs to be snatched in a little bit, so which means the next part of this project is for me to join it here. So this end here all the way to the bottom. Okay, now the way I will do it is I will flip it back to the other side, because this is gonna be the outside of my dress. So the way I want to join it is like this, so that the same can be the inside of my dress when I'm done with it. Okay, so let me just replace this back down like this. Okay, so I'm gonna join it actually like this with all of these strings hanging. And as you can see, I had chosen that this side of the squares are much cleaner looking than this side. And as you can see, even with this white one here, this side looks a lot more nicer and defined in the stitches. And this is the back of it. So we already decided that this is going to be the outside of our dress and this is going to be the inside of our dress. So with that said, it means then I'm going to go ahead and join this part here. So I'm going to take my black yarn or white yarn, it doesn't matter, because if you see here, I use all the black yarn to join. It's not looking like it's crazy. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and join all of this here all the way to here. And then when that's all done, I'm gonna try my dress on. It's like a halter dress, to make sure it fits properly. If it doesn't fit properly, then we're gonna kind of see how we need to adjust the size, because it needs to be able to fit. And also, if you do have to reduce these lines here, it means you have to take 2 out, because if I take the black, let's say I take this square out that ends in black, it means the white will end up being joined with this white here, which doesn't look that interesting anymore, because the point is to have these different colors like polka dots. Okay, like big squares, but they literally look like polka dots at the end of it all. Okay, so let me go ahead and join these here, and when it's joined, I'm going to try it on, and then however it fits, I'm gonna come back and we're gonna finish the video there. We're gonna do the strap. If we do need to have a strap here, we will do that. But if it doesn't fit, I will still come back to explain to you guys how it doesn't fit and what we need to do to fix it. Okay, so I will see you guys in a few minutes. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and did all the work that needed to be done for this dress, and as you can see here, it's nicely done. All of the strings that I had on the inside are all off, so it took a long time to have to weave in all the little strings that we had here. So it's now a nice clean inside, and as you can see, this is the bottom part. And I've also, like I said, flipped it, because if you see some of the places here where I cut off the yarn, it does have a little bit of fluffy things here and there. But the fact that we flip it to make sure that this is the outside of it, this is the outside of it, and this becomes the inside, it just makes it really nice and neat and clean like this. So as you can see, it's pretty much done. This is the length of the dress here. So if I can just grab my tape measure, because I know some of you often ask me how long the dress is. Not that for me it matters to talk about these things, because it literally is the size that you want and the length that you want. So you could have made this a little bit shorter if you wanted. You could have made it longer. You could have made it however you want. But since some of you guys ask how long the dress is, it's about 26 inches long. Okay, so about 26 inches long, and on me, as you see in the pictures, it goes just above my knees, and that is the length that I love. Okay, now finally to the surprise that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Now actually, before I get to that, let me show you guys one more thing. You can wear this like this, where this just becomes like a halter dress and you don't have anything holding it up except for your bust up here. But if you want, this is gonna be a little bit loose on me, and I wanted it like that. If you want, I made some straps like this that you can also make, and I'm going to put the straps right in the middle of these black sections here, these black granny squares here, because I have made it in black. If you wanted to make it in white, then you would have arranged your dress so that the whites are here. All right, but since I did it in black, I'm going to actually just go in the middle of this, and I'm going to bring my string here. And this, for those of you who are curious, this is about 150 chains, and it's because it's a thin yarn, it doesn't look like it's that big, but it's about 150 chains, and this is just enough for me to tie it on top of my body. Okay, so I do that there, and on the other side, I go into the middle part, I bring that through. Okay, I bring that through here, and what I will do, of course, is then I will be able to tie it on top of my shoulders. So this is gonna go on top of my shoulders here, and I will use this to kind of make a nice bow tie on top of my shoulder like this. Okay, so this is again up to you. You can wear it as a halter top, a halter dress, or you can have these straps so that you can tie it up like this. Okay, so I'll do the same on this side, and then I will talk about the surprise that I just told you guys about, because I like to do things that you can do with in different ways that have multi-purposes and things like that. So without spoiling the surprise, let me just finish this section here. Okay, so my straps would pretty much be to tie it on top. It's a little bit loose on me, like I said, so I will probably use it with the straps a lot more. But if I have like a nice cushy bra, it will hold up nice and fitted. Okay, but this is pretty much what you would use for straps up like this. So that is the last part I wanted to talk about, but here, let's go with the surprise. And to do the surprise, I'm gonna remove these guys for now. And also, this is a good thing about this. So I actually made this dress so it can be a skirt as well, okay? So the surprise that I wanted to share with you guys here is that with this skirt done like this snatches on your waist really nice, and then you can wear it as a skirt as well. And this is so beautiful, you guys. If you wear it with a skirt with a nice burlesque top, let's say black or white, whichever of these two colors you choose to do in a burlesque, this is so beautiful as a skirt as well. So that is the surprise that I've been talking about. So I will show you guys pictures now so that you see how it looks like as a skirt, but it's so beautiful. So if you're making this, if you do want to have it as a dress and a skirt as well, this is all you have to do, is just make it exactly like this. Don't put your straps so that they're attached to the actual dress. Make your straps so that they're removable like this, and then you can wear it sometimes as a halter dress, and sometimes you can wear it as a skirt. And because it's a short halter dress, if you wear it as a skirt, obviously it's gonna be a little bit longer. So this goes up below my knees when I wear it as a skirt. Okay, so in the winter, when you want to keep it nice and warm, you can wear this as a skirt, and in the summer you can wear it as a dress because it's a little bit shorter. All right, well, thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this little surprise at the end of the video, and I really hope you guys will subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so. Make sure you like, make sure you hit the notification bell so I can notify you, or YouTube will notify you when I have posted a video, a new video, and as well share the video with your loved ones. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.